seeing what was probably the most important use of music in the Middle Ages, accompanying the religious activities that were so important to the people of that time. The Middle Ages, which lasted roughly from the 9th to the 15th century, was a time when there was one church, the Roman Catholic Church, and it dominated the religious life of Europe. And religion, in turn, dominated the life of the people. Wars were fought over religion. All of the arts were affected by religion. Architecture, sculpture, painting, all were strongly influenced by the church. Books, each of which was written and illustrated by hand, were almost exclusively on religious subjects. And much, if not most, music was dedicated to the glory of God and of the church. The singing of simple, unadorned melodies in Latin, such as this Gregorian chant, was the heart of medieval musical expression. In the early Middle Ages, singing was largely in unison, with everyone singing the same melody. But as time passed, composers began writing music for more than one part. In this composition, the bottom part, sung by the men, is a slow-moving Gregorian chant. Above the chant, a faster-moving second part has been added. Eventually, compositions of 3 or more parts came to be written, adding greater variety to the harmony. Supporting the lower part in this 3-part motet is the voice, the crumhorn, an early form of woodwind, and the portative organ, an ancestor of our modern organ. This motet was written by the famous 14th century composer Guillaume de Machaut. In the Middle Ages, there were many beautiful religious songs written in honor of the Virgin Mary, who inspired musicians and artists alike. One such song is the Mariam Matrem, which was popular in Spain around the year 1200. It praises Mary as the Mother of God and the shelter of the world. function of the Mass was to accompany the various parts of the church service. So it was divided into several sections or movements, each played during a different part of the service. The musical form known as the Mass is still in use today. Even though religion was very important to the people of the Middle Ages, there was also time for romance, for dancing, and for festivals, and there was music to fit all these occasions. Musicians wandered from place to place, singing of love and of battle. We are listening to a love song sung by one of these wandering musicians, a troubadour, who, accompanying himself on the minstrel's harp, sings, "Ah, pretty lady, my heart without deceit I put in your keeping, for I do not know your equal." The Middle Ages was a period of rigid division between classes. On top was a ruling class of noblemen living in castles. Beneath them was a large, poor peasant class who labored in fields and lived in huts. But music and dance were important and lively arts to these peasants. Let's watch a peasant's dance, accompanied by the vielle, an ancestor of the violin, the recorder, related to the flute, and the crumhorn. medieval Italy, there was a type of composition called the caccia, or chase, which described the excitement of the hunt. Listen to how the two singers sing the same melody, one, the hunted, getting a head start, while the other, the hunter, never quite catches up. Accompanying the singers is the sackbut, a small medieval trombone. A nobleman who was unable to perform on at least one musical instrument, and who could neither write poetry nor sing, was simply not considered an educated person. It was not uncommon for the head of a household to invite family and guests to join him in singing and playing music after dinner. The madrigal we are hearing was written by the famous blind Italian organist Francesco Landino in the 14th century. To the people of the Middle Ages, life without music would have been drab and colorless. They found music to be a necessity in supporting their religious activities, and songs and dances were an important part of the daily life of noblemen and peasants alike. Let's end with a series of court dances in which we will see and hear many of the instruments we've learned about.